Welcome back to another episode of Digital Dating with Anonymous Andrew, and we're winding down season 4. And I have saved for you the last episode that I think you must hear. I was approached by a woman named Misty O'Hara, and her email blew me away. She really pitched a great pitch, and so I'd like to welcome Misty to the podcast. Welcome, Misty.
Thank you, Andrew. I'm so excited to be here.
Misty is an author, a recent author, and I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what the book's about, or just tell you the name of the book, and then I'm going to let her take it from there, because I don't even know half what's the story, but from what I understand, it's quite a story. So, Misty O'Hara, the name of the book is The 100-Man Plan, and I'm sure your imaginations are already running wild. So, Misty, take it over. Tell us what that book is all about.
Well, the 100-Man Plan, I mean, it kind of, it explains itself, but I like to talk more about it. So this is completely fiction. This book is about a woman whose husband calls her a prude. He leaves her for a younger, hotter woman. He tells her she's pretty and beautiful, but she's not sexy. And he basically tears her down. So she decides to go and sleep with 100 men. Now, you know, this is not based on my real life. And a lot of people, they say, is this something you've done? No, absolutely not. And I can go more into that later. But this girl does actually sleep with 100 men. Now, it's not in one night like some certain people have done. It's over the course of about 2 years. But she does decide that she is sexy and she wants to kind of prove her ex wrong and show him that she is sexy and she can be sexy. And she kind of does that and kind of finds herself along the way. So that's what the book's about, and it's 100% fiction, give or take.
So, elaborate a little bit more on that.
Okay, so basically, how the book was born, is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, let's.
Okay, perfect.
Because
so
you before we recorded, you told me a little story about
Mhm.
your romantic life,
Yes.
and then you came up with the concept of this book, and then you said the book is not about your life, but
Mhm.
then you said later you'll explain that, but
Right.
so it's a little bit ambiguous there. So I'm trying to, but I like the concept, and the hundred man, she does it in about 2 years, but
Yes.
let's go a little deeper.
Sure. Okay. So going back, I actually got married. I still am married, but I was in a monogamous marriage for 19 years. And my mom actually got ALS and passed away. Now, this destroyed our entire family, and it actually kind of destroyed me as well. And being with my husband, I had only been with him. I'd only had sex with him. We both got married at 19. And I went to him and I said, I can't think of anything bad enough to do. I think I'm going to go have sex with 100 men. And he just kind of looked at me and he was kind of blown away. He said, "Oh my gosh, what?" He said, "Why, where is this coming from?" Because
Right, but where
once
after
again,
19 years is that coming
Mhm.
from?
Exactly. And I think I was just trying to rebel. I don't know. It's almost like I just wanted to do the worst thing I can think of. And to me, that's the worst thing. And my husband, who's the greatest man in the world, any other guy would have kicked me out. He would have got divorced. My husband looked at me and he said, "You do what you need to do to get through this. You just take me with you." And that's what started our polyamory journey. So I started going out and we started going to parties and stuff. And I found out real quick that I cannot sleep with 100 men. I'm not made for it. Told my husband, how about if I don't sleep with 100 men? How about if I just write a book about it instead? And that really helped me heal. My imagination is way great, way better than, going and sleeping with 100 men. And who knows what would happen with that. But I decided to write the book instead, and I came to find out too that I was able to, get one boyfriend. And I said to my husband, "How about if I just sleep with this guy instead, 100 times instead of 100 men one time?" And so I started writing the book, and that started our polyamorous lifestyle, which I've kind of always been that way. I just didn't know it, but I got into that, and so right now, I've been married to my husband for 31 years. I have a boyfriend of 7 years, and we all live together. And the book is fiction, and I have not slept with 100 men.
Okay, the next question, I don't know if you answer it, if your husband will be okay with it. So
Mm,
you live together.
mhm.
Do you this your boyfriend, we'll call it so husband, boyfriend, the boyfriend you sleep with, does your husband ever partake in the threesome or is it just you and them? You and him?
So, no, so we absolutely have threesomes all the time,
Okay.
and, I like to say we're all tragically heterosexual, and so the boys are kind of, they stay on their sides, but yes, when you're having sex with 2 men, obviously they're gonna touch, things are gonna touch, but they're both straight, and, so, they don't sleep with each other, they don't really do anything sexual with each other, but they do to me, so,
Yeah.
yes.
And I've actually been in that position where I was with another man and a woman, and
Mhm.
there's plenty to do. So
Right,
it's what's
absolutely. Yeah,
especially if you use your imagination. So
people are very interested to ask me if those 2 have a relationship together, and they are, buddies. They are good friends, but not sexually, so no,
mm.
they focus on me as they should.
And so when you approached him with this concept at first, there was nothing that triggered you, like he didn't do something or say something to you
Oh,
that got you riled up?
no. No, absolutely not, and that's why I think it was like a rebellion, I guess, towards my mom, my parents. I was raised in the LDS church here in Utah. This is where I live. And I think that, sex is such a taboo thing here. And, my husband and I got married. We've only had sex with each other. And so to me, that's worse than anything. Maybe other people would have went out and did some drugs and drank a lot or did something crazy. But to me, the most horrible thing in the world is having sex. So my husband did nothing. He was amazing. He, still is, and he supported me 100%. And like I said, any other man probably would have thrown me out, divorced me, called me some names. I don't know. But, my husband's fantastic. And he, later on, he said to me, I knew you weren't going to have sex with 100 men. He knows me very well. And I was kind of just throwing a fit, I guess, and kind of acting out.
I'm gonna throw a curveball at you. So you went to him and you said this,
Mhm.
and he's a good man, so he said, "You go do what you need to do." What happens if he had said, "If you do that, I'm done"?
I think that we'd be divorced by now because the mindset that I was in, even though he's the greatest and I love him and I did love him at the time, the mindset that I was in, I didn't care. I just wanted to act out. I said, I'm going and doing this. And if you don't like it, I
What do
guess we're
you think
done.
it was? Was it the idea that you've only had, and I'm gonna say it, you've only had one cock in
One.
your life? You've only had one man inside you? Because you
Yeah.
said you met at 19 and he
Yeah.
was the only man,
Uh-huh.
and you because people do fantasize about, like, what is it like to be with somebody
Right.
else, especially after 20 something year or in
Sure.
your case, 20 years.
20 years. Yeah.
You must be curious. You see other men,
Yeah.
you're human,
Hmm.
you got eyes and there's lots of I now coming all that said, I'm a monogamous person, so when
Okay.
I'm I'm in a relationship, and this is podcast was born because the last relationship I was in with somebody who chose it to be non-ethical monogamy
Okay. Yep.
and polyamory and forgot to tell me about it.
Oh, no. Oh,
So,
no. Yeah.
and it was really bad, and that's how the podcast got started because I told
Okay.
my story. And I think if she had come to me and said, I maybe I love you or maybe I want to be with you, but I also want to because she had just come out of a 20-year marriage and he cheated on her. So I think she wanted to go out
Oh,
because she was like you. I think he was her only uh,
sure.
man in her life.
Mhm.
And I think she wanted to go out and experience because I met her on eHarmony right after they got divorced. So she had some fun with me. And then I think she realized at 50 that, and she was beautiful, like yourself. And I think she just wanted to go experience the world and knew that I would hold her back. And I probably would have if she had asked for the permission. Although I can't say that for sure because I lost her anyway. But maybe to keep her, I maybe would have chosen the path your husband chose. I think your husband chose the high road because he didn't want to lose you.
Right, and I mean, I'm not gonna argue that. If he would have come to me a couple years before and said the same thing to me, I probably would have kicked him out. I don't know what I would have done. You don't know till you're in that situation. But absolutely, he didn't wanna lose me, and I get that because we had problems. We have a really great marriage. He's such a great guy, and we work really well together, and and he's really sweet to me, and everything was perfect. That's why when I threw that at him, he was just probably in shock.
Mhm.
And he did say to me, "I don't think you're actually going to do that," and he was right, as usual. He's right.
Well, because he knows you. Yeah,
Right,
he
and
knows you.
that's the thing, he's known me for almost he's known me 20 years, he knew I wasn't going to, but the thing is I could have done that, and maybe if I would have started doing it and got to number 50, he would have had enough and left. But, at that point, he told me, "Just take me with you," and what "take me with you" meant to him was he went with me. We would find guys, we would have threesomes, he was always there with me.
So
So
walk us through that. So you would
yeah,
go to either a swingers club, which
mhm,
I don't know what city you live in, but there's
right.
one in every city
They're
or
everywhere, yeah,
multiple,
uh-huh.
and and or sex club or something. So is that what you did? So you went out?
So basically we would go to parties. We had a lot of friends that threw parties and we would just go to parties and we would, I would kiss a lot of people. And that's my thing. You have to be to me, if you're really good at kissing, you're probably going to be really good. And that's what I like doing. I like kissing people and that's how I get to know them. I like talking to people. And I did not, we didn't at first, we weren't trying to find people to have sex with. I was just trying to find guys to talk to, trying to find someone I would want to
You took
be
baby
with.
steps. Yeah.
Complete baby steps. I'm talking probably 2 years of baby steps. And then, I did find a guy that I really liked, and that's when I took him to my husband and I said, "How about if we just have if I just have sex with this guy 100 times?" And he turned it into my boyfriend. Now this was my first boyfriend, not the one I'm with now. But, and we spent a lot of time together because he was single and he was monogamous to me. He had never he was just a single guy and he really liked me and he was okay with it. And I really liked him. He
But
really
he
helped me heal.
but he was okay with you
Mhm.
with your husband.
Yes.
So how
Yeah.
did that work? So he would come over and you would have sex with your husband, did or did not partake in the first
No,
boyfriend?
no, the first boyfriend we did have that's all we did was
Okay.
threesomes, and he lived
Okay.
alone, he had his own place, so we'd go over there, and at this point, my kids were teenagers, we
Oh,
have we have
I
3
was gonna
kids.
mention, did you
Yeah.
have kids? Yeah, 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 yeah.
We have 3 children. They're
That could be
now
a
in their
problem.
20s. Yeah, they're in their 20s now. But yes, I don't wanna bring strange men home to my house. So we would go to his house, and I really liked it because, nothing about him reminded me of my mom and my situation. So my husband called it my dickstraction, and it actually was very distracting.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So we did do that for, I was with him about 3 years, and, yeah,
What
it
happened? Because
he
obviously it ended.
this is hilarious. So he wanted me to leave my husband and he wanted me to all to himself. He was very monogamous to me. And I told him from the beginning, my husband's great. I'm never going to leave him. I like him better than you. And he came in knowing that and he still wanted
Because in the
still
back of his
wanted.
mind, he thought he could probably convert look,
Yeah.
all not gender, all people do that in
Mhm.
all different whatever it's gender or gay or whatever.
Right.
You meet somebody and and they're not into something, but you in the back of your mind said, "Well, over time, I'm gonna
They'll change.
turn them.
Yeah,
They'll change, they'll
they'll
turn
change.
them." Uh,
Mhm.
and it never does. It
Right.
rarely does,
Right.
unless some miracle happens.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, boyfriend number one,
Mhm.
exit stage left, I'm guessing.
Right.
And then you go back out to your hunting grounds
Yes,
for
and then I and then I realized I am, polyamorous, which means you can love more than one person. You're not a swinger. A lot of people get swingers confused with polyamory,
correct.
but I realized I did want to have a boyfriend. So started dating again and found another guy who hadn't I mean, he was very monogamous as well. Apparently, I attract monogamous guys who wanna be monogamous to me,
But
and
that's not, but think about it. It's not, it's traditional, it's normal. And I know the world's changing and polyamory and ethical non monogamy is becoming big, but it
right,
always has been there, but it's been in the
mhm,
back dark rooms of
right,
the sex clubs and all that stuff. It's now becoming mainstream. But still, I would argue to say that I would think 20 to 30% to 70 is, so 70% is traditional
mhm,
commitment, monogamous. I'm on a date, I'm on a couple dating apps, and you swipe and swipe and swipe, and everybody now they have a new thing now where you can put monogamy,
mhm,
polygamy, non-monogamy,
right.
whatever. And I haven't found one that said polyamory. Now maybe I'm on the wrong app, maybe my filter is set that way. I don't know. But I
Yeah,
think
I think that ethical non-monogamy is the word they like to use For me, I always tell people I'm binogamous, which I'm not bisexual. It means that I am in love with 2 men. I like to be with 2 men. I don't want to be with any more than that. So, I'm monogamous to 2 men, and that's how I've been for the last 13 years.
I got a whole bunch of questions. Plus, I also want to talk. Are you still with the Latter-day Saints?
No, so actually, I was never really good at that, but, I tried, and when my mom died, that's when we completely left.
Because I have a cult podcast, so I may want to
I might have
interview.
to come on there.
You might have to come on there.
I was raised LDS, and I was LDS till I was about 35, 37.
Wow.
And I actually still am. I have not I mean,
Officially
yeah,
left. Yeah, I know
I've yeah,
there's a
I
whole
haven't
protocol.
gotten yeah, it's so much work, and I feel like I've spent enough time, but that's a whole 'nother show.
Okay, we'll talk afterwards because I do have
Yeah.
a cult podcast all about that, and I have a co-host, and she's a cult survivor, so we'll talk about
Oh,
that. So tell me, there was a, I got to write these down because I will forget them. So you met boyfriend number two, same way. You were at a
right.
club or party or
Yeah.
something.
Well, he was actually, one friends of one of my friends, and he knew me the whole time. He knew me, the whole time I was with boyfriend number 1, and he always liked me, and I had no idea. And so that just kind of happened, and, yeah, he was like I said, he was, single as well, and, we started dating, and, he was a lot of fun,
Define
and
dating.
yeah.
Literally going
So
to dinner, going to
yeah.
movies, just like you
Mhm.
would. Okay.
So, yeah, just like how you date anyone, and we would go out, once a week, I would go out with him on a date, I'd sleep over at his house, just things that, you do with a boyfriend.
But the
Um,
husband stayed home.
Husband stayed home with this one. This one did not like threesomes at all. He was not happy there's another cock in the room. My first boyfriend was very bi comfortable, he was okay with it. Boyfriend number 2, absolutely not. We did, I think, 2 threesomes with my husband, and he was absolutely terrified. He hated it. It was just funny. So he was not comfortable doing it, and I was okay with that at this point. It was fine. So,
Is
had
it
sex with
still that
him
way?
one-on-one with boyfriend number 2 is not my boyfriend I'm with now. I had 4 boyfriends before I'm
Oh
with
my God, we
yeah,
skipped over just two
yeah,
more. Okay.
yeah. So boyfriend number 2, no more.
All right,
So
cross him off the list.
so I've been doing this since 2013, and it's now
Okay.
2025. So, and I've only been with this boyfriend for 7 years.
So
So, yeah, there
so
were
that broke that. So I'm keeping tabs here. So
yes,
boyfriend number one wanted you to leave your husband. Boyfriend number
yes,
two didn't said I can't have another cock in the room, and that
right.
basically ended that. Right? In other
I
words, there
mean
was no
I mean
compromise.
that did not end that. We actually had sex a lot without my husband. That's not what ended it. What ended it is he didn't really know, it's so hard to explain. He didn't really know how to be a boyfriend. He didn't wanna take me on dates. He wanted to stay home and watch TV. It was like we were married. I told my husband all the time, "I feel like you're my boyfriend," and he's like the old married husband who doesn't ever wanna do anything fun.
Right?
So,
No,
that's how that ended. He didn't want to be my boyfriend.
he became boring, and
He just wanted to stay home and watch TV, and I'm too young for that. We can do
yeah.
that when we're old
You
and
wanted to go out and
retired.
have fun.
Yeah,
No, I get it. All
yeah,
right. So
so that
boyfriend
ended that.
exit number two. All right. So
Uh-huh.
enter. No idea what I signed up for. Enter number three.
So, then I was kind of going and finding guys and at this point, I was still looking for a boyfriend, and I'd kiss them, and they were great, and they were fun, and I actually ended up having to have sex with them because you can't just sit there and date a guy when you're in your
Nope.
40s.
You gotta try the
Yes.
merchandise.
You sometimes you eventually have to put out, and that's fine. So I slept with some guys. They were okay. It just wasn't there. I really was looking for long term. I was looking for a boyfriend, and it just wasn't there, but I still wanted to have sex with him. Have fun. So I did. Um, Boyfriend number 3 comes in, and I waited a couple of weeks to have sex with him. And he was a really good kisser, so I thought he'd be really good in the sack. And he was not. He wanted me to do some freaky stuff. And I just couldn't do it. And
You want to
I went
share? What's
well,
freaky?
I'll share a little bit. So, he's the only person I know in the entire world who wants to use Vaseline to have sex, and he wanted
Ew.
so, like, he'd put it in the condom, and then he'd put it on the outside of the condom, and then he'd touch my hair and rub it all over my body, and I was just like, "What?" And, he
Yeah.
wanted
No.
yeah, and he told
No.
me he told me that he likes body hair on women, everywhere, everywhere. And he didn't want me to go get waxed. He didn't want me to shave anything. And he wanted me to wear granny panties, and he wanted me to not wear deodorant. He's very hippie, apparently. And I just wasn't. And he was great and fantastic, but I can't do that. Also, the worst thing he said to me, I would have a perfect body to him if I gained 40 pounds. Gained, not lost. He told me
Okay.
that. And when he told me that, I just said to him that, I'm not what you want. I will
Yeah.
never be this girl.
No.
And we went our separate ways.
Again, that goes back to before. He's wants something in you, and he's going to tell you. He'll probably try to morph you into that, and it wasn't going to happen. Okay.
Absolutely not. So he was a nice
listen,
guy.
this is a no judgment podcast. So whatever, I will say this: every podcast, every episode, as long as whatever, and I always point that way because there's my bedroom. Whatever you and your husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, mature adult, responsible, go in there and do what they do consensually is your business.
Absolutely.
And I don't judge. If you want to put, granny pants on and what's with the Vaseline?
I don't know. I was scared to ask. I don't want to judge him. He has a girl out there, I guess, that will like that, and they'll be in love.
Even in masturbation, Vaseline is not the best lubricant. It is just messy, and it's very hard to get off. And there's so many better things out there, but inside and out, I'm not judging. I'm just editorializing, I guess.
Right.
It's weird.
And I try to be not when people ask me for things when we're naked, I don't want to make fun of anyone. I don't want to ask questions. I try to be nice, but there's only so much I can do.
Yeah,
and that was a deal breaker for me with all the weird. And
I get it. I get it. So did you gently let him go? Just like, it's not going to work for us?
I basically told him we're sexually incompatible, that's it. And we are. And there's nothing wrong. And I said, you're going to find someone who's going to love all this. I'm just not that girl. And he did. He said, can we still make out when I see you? And I said, absolutely. And so when I did see him for about a year after that, I'd always make out with him because he's a good kisser, but just not, it's not there. We're sexually incompatible. And that's a thing.
Okay. All right, so exit boyfriend number 3 stage left.
Then I found other guys, and then I found the guy I'm with now. And he's the one I'm with and have been with for 7 years.
So he would be the longest?
Yes, and he is the one. The 2? He's the 2. He's the one. He's the one I've been looking for. He's absolutely what I was looking for. Sexually compatible. He's amazing. He's everything I've been looking for in every way. So that's it. Yeah.
Okay. I would like to bring up something that I think just naturally would be a question in my mind because I'm actually approaching that phase in my life. Okay. So you're younger than me, but you're married to your husband, so he would have health proxy decisions. Have you guys sat down and talked about any of that?
So
the legalities of all of this.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. We're not. No, my husband is probably all of that. He's my emergency contact. At my job, I actually just added my boyfriend because you can have more than one emergency contact. So I just added him, but that just goes straight to HR. That's probably the most I've done. But as far as like life insurance, all of that, definitely my husband. I always just say my husband has seniority. And he's been there the longest.
But something, I'm just throwing things out there. Something, a will. I'm sure you have something put away. You, God forbid, die before the 2 of the men. And by the way, statistically, women outlive the men. So,
sure.
but let's say you didn't, and this is personal. I don't know if you
get what you're asking me. So.
These are tough decisions.
No, at this point, all my stuff goes to my husband and my children.
Okay.
We have never talked about. Yes, and he doesn't want it. His life insurance goes to his children. We don't have it. Does no one's getting rich if one of us dies, unless it's my husband. His kids might. I'm just saying, him and I. We're not. It's not like that.
I'm bringing it up only because I'm at the age where retirement is around
Mhm.
the corner,
Sure.
and I have 3 children and grandchildren, and I have to start thinking I haven't made a will yet, and people are saying, "What are you waiting for?" Because
Yeah.
you drop dead, the I could think the government steps in and divvies up your money. I don't know exactly how that works. Although
Yeah.
I have some of my sons as beneficiaries on some of my policies. Um, okay, I just wanted to cross an unpleasant area first just to see if
Yeah.
you guys had worked that out already, and he seems fine with it,
Yeah,
right?
he wants none of that. If I told him I put you as a beneficiary, he'd say, "Take me off."
Okay.
He's that way. He doesn't want anything to do with that. We don't share finances, my husband and I do, and, we all live together, so obviously there's things that we all go in on. He pays for me, I pay for him. We kind of all just but not official. We split everything as far as living together, but
Are
yeah.
are there nights so, what's today? Monday, okay. Let's pick a random night. Thursday night. So, and I don't know what everybody does for a living, but, your husband comes home Thursday night and he's
Mhm,
tired
mhm.
and, makes himself, whatever, a cocktail, watches something, and then says, "Hey, I'm gonna turn in." And you're sitting on the couch with boyfriend number 4, or which is really number 2, I think you said, but whatever. Number 2 meaning he's your second man in your life.
Right, right.
He wants has a you guys share a glass of wine or a bottle, and is it okay you can go off and have sex if your husband's sleeping?
So, I have a bedroom with my husband, and I have a bedroom with my boyfriend. So
Okay,
I have my bedroom with him, and I used to every other night. I'd sleep with him one night, but sometimes, like, if my husband has early morning meetings and I know he's getting up at 6 a.m., I sleep with boyfriend because I know he's not getting up till 8 a.m.
gotcha,
Sometimes, sometimes I'll sleep it just depends, that if I'm on a date or if husband and I go to a movie, I'm gonna come home and sleep in his bed because boyfriend might already be asleep. So
gotcha.
it just I mean, my husband tells me all the time, "You sleep where you want to. You don't have to ask permission. You don't have to you do what you want. You sleep where you want. You whatever you want." And I do, and it's worked out. It's pretty 50-50.
Okay, 2 2 topics, and then we're gonna begin to wrap up. But one topic we really didn't we kinda glazed right over, and that's your book. So we got your personal life story, but tell us what happens in the book. I mean, obviously, we
Okay.
want people to go out and buy it
Sure.
and read it, but just can you sum it up? So this woman, her husband comes up to her and says, "You're a prude," and then she wants to go out and prove that she's not by sleeping with 100 men. That's
Right.
the
So
concept.
yeah, so basically she finds out he's cheating. She catches him cheating and it's with a young she's an Instagram influencer and she's everything that she thought her husband didn't like about women. She's young, she's, blonde, big boobs, size 0, like and her husband basically says, "Of course I'm going to go with her. You're boring. Like you're not sexy." And then he proceeds to tell her everything that the girlfriend lets him do that she doesn't let him do and kind of a jerk about it. And he just tells her, "You're not sexy." So they end up getting divorced. She decides she's going to go sleep with 100 men to prove him wrong. And she just is kind of a brat about it. She just says, "I'm going to do this." And she starts out and what I love about this book is it's funny. I mean, there's no like trauma. There's no like horrible things that are going to trigger people. I mean, maybe some people get triggered for some stuff, but it's a light, funny book. And there's over 100 chapters because every chapter is a different man. But it still manages to be, a normal size book because some chapters are 2 lines and some chapters are 5 pages. But I love it because in the beginning she wants to get revenge. She wants she wants to prove him wrong, but she realizes this isn't about him anymore. And it's just I think it's a really great book because like I said, it's funny, but there's still sex in it, but it's not cringy. And I like that. When I have an agent who called me and let me tell you, I thought that my agent, when I got one, would be a woman who's my age, who's like into romance. He is an old man from New York. I'm pretty sure he's Jewish. An old Jewish man from New York. And he
There's
called
lots
me.
of them here.
Yeah, he called me up and I had no idea. He called me and he said, "I love your book." He said, "I read it in one night. It's not cringy." He's like, "You toe the line, but you pull back." He's like, "You let the imagination take over." He says, "It's not cringe." And he's like, "You have to let me represent you." And so I did. I loved his pitch. So,
Fantastic.
yeah.
So the manner in which the character in your book, what's her name? The
So that's the other thing. She does not have a name. I wanted every woman
Really?
who reads it to identify with her. I don't really describe her. I want every woman who reads it to be like, I could be that
So
girl.
we don't know what she looks like.
She doesn't, yeah, she doesn't really have a description and she doesn't have a name. And her friend called, they have nicknames for her, but you never know her real name.
Okay. So each chapter is 100 chapters, and each chapter is one more man she sleeps with.
Yes.
That's kind of, I'm not an author, but I'm a podcaster and I do a lot of audio and I have dabbled in journalism. That's a lot of imagination to come up with how to sleep with 100 men. So did you have to sit there and think about how you would go about doing it, or
Yeah, I mean, it's based on I mean, there's obviously, things in my life that it's based on. You know, maybe I went to a party and I made out with a guy and we had this conversation, or maybe I was at the grocery store, or maybe the movie theater. Those never ended in sex, but in my imagination, they did.
they
And
did?
yes,
Okay.
yeah, and so obviously, it also stories I've heard, women who've told me about their encounters, I kinda tweak it so it's not absolutely what they said, but I made it better, it's like fiction is way better than real life, and I can make it more funny, I can make
Oh,
the dialogue better, and so a lot of it is based on things that I've heard or stuff my friends have told me or my own life.
I'm only going to mention this just to kind of back up your idea of fiction, and it's a controversial term right now is AI. There's
Mhm,
a lot of AI out there, and there's a lot of AI platforms that are starting to slowly loosen up their grips on eroticism,
mhm,
and so because people are dying to write eroticism, erotic short
mhm.
stories and things, and they want AI to help them. And of course, ChatGPT won't do it, but there's other ones that are coming along, and I've dabbled in it. I've played with some of the platforms, and it's amazing what the imagination can do.
Mhm.
So you can play with these chatbots with the AIs. You give them a storyline, and between you and them, they come up with these erotic stories that I'm telling you are for me were made me more horny than looking at any porn or any pictures. It was so I'm just
Yeah,
giving you the fiction can your imagination can really run wild and be more pleasurable, erotic than the
right.
actual act itself.
Yeah, I love that you said that because this is, men are very visual, but
Yes,
women, if you want to turn on a woman, you whisper in her ear what you're going to do to her. You tell her a story. And I call my book Cliterature because that's exactly what it is. Um
interesting.
yeah, I when I wrote this book, I read it to my husband, and I wanted to read it to him from beginning to end, and I am not joking, we probably had sex 9 times in that because he could not. I'd start reading it, and he'd just, like, attack me, and I'm like, "Okay, great, you're done, your sack is empty, let's go, now let's start reading it." 5 more chapters, he'd grab me again, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, we're never gonna get through this book," and he actually liked it. He said, "This is really hot, and it's really funny," and he actually liked it, and I didn't think men would like it, but so many do.
Yeah, there's a myth, and I know where it comes from, that men are ready to have sex in 30 seconds, like, like you if you walk, but the women need 20 minutes to warm up, or sometimes all day. Like they'll on the podcast here, we talk about how to make love to a woman. You don't just throw her on the bed and expect her to be wet and moist and ready to go.
Right.
When a man can get an erection in a minute, I can make out with you, touch your breast, boom.
Mhm,
But that's a myth that all men are like that. As a matter of fact, we're finding out more and more and more because men are now coming forward and talking to therapists and
mhm.
interviews and men magazines that they struggle with that they have anxiety and they can't get hard, or they don't come right away, or they don't want sex right away, and that
Yeah.
they do want some. And I'm one of those guys that I love eroticism, foreplay, words. I have a game called Strip Questions and Answers, and I have
Mhm.
all these things that I come up with some women that I will sit on the couch for 2 hours and tease the fuck out of you and get you so wet and horny that I have to wash my couch afterwards before I get you in the bedroom. And I'm not
Right.
boasting my that. That's just who I am. I just can't. I'm not the type of guy that can hire a prostitute and just say, okay, drop your clothes. Here's $200. Let's do it.
Right.
not my style. And I'm not alone. There's a lot of guys out there that I think are like that, that they need more. I mean, I guess I'm referencing men in their middle-aged years who are more mature. I think an 18-year-old would still be able to would that's what he would prefer, just to drop his
Maybe.
pants.
I mean, I think, yeah, I think everyone's different.
Everyone's
And
different, of course.
yeah, obviously. I mean, I heard somebody say men are like a light switch. You flip it and they get turned on. Women are like an oven. They have to preheat.
But he
But you know what? I think I'm a man trapped in a woman's body. I've always been like a light switch. And I don't know why I'm like
well,
that.
that's I've heard that too. There are women out and I've run across many of them in my lifetime that I dated a woman once, couple years ago. We were in a relationship, and I don't know, the second or third date, we went back to her house, and she literally couldn't put the keys down fast enough after she closed the door, dragged me upstairs. And I was like, "Where we going? Where we going?"
Oh my
And
gosh.
threw me on the bed and jumped on me, and it turned me off because
Right.
I wanna be I got that predator in me, or the not the predator, but, "I wanna court you.
Yeah.
Let me do something." But she was great, so she knew how to do it, so
I think that
okay.
says something about you. She was so turned on by you, she couldn't wait.
It was just maybe if she said it, maybe if she whispered into my ear during the car ride, when we get home, I'm gonna do this to you. Maybe I
Right.
would have been prepared for it, but I
Yeah.
wasn't, and it kind of
Kind of
threw
threw
me.
you off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but long story short, I didn't turn it down. It just
Right.
was a little bit of a shock.
Sure, sure. No, and that's like saying everyone's different. I mean, there's some people who need to be warmed up for a half hour. There's some people who can go right away.
Yeah,
And I mean, I think everyone's been on every side of that. So
and I'm in a
yeah.
very exciting moment in my life right now. I took off from dating for a while. I needed to heal from the last relationship. Part of the podcast, did a lot of research, did some sitting with myself, learning how to sit in my own skin because I was codependent. I was always dating, 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 how to have a woman. I am back on the dating scene and I met somebody a couple of days ago and I don't know what hormones, the oxytocins, dopamines, whatever, they're flying because
Wow.
she's fantastic and we're having great conversations and I'm just really excited about it. So, and we haven't even met yet. It's
Oh
all
my
been on
gosh.
texting and phone calls. So problem is she's about an hour away. You got to figure that logistics. So, Misty, last
Yes.
question, and
Yes.
it probably doesn't belong at the end, but I did write it down, and you did mention it, but I just curious. You said that you have 3 children, men or adults. They obviously know about this.
So I waited until they were adults to tell them. I
What's adult age?
21. Well, we
Okay.
were going to tell the youngest when she turned 18, and then it just kind of never came up. And then it got to the point where I didn't want them to think I was cheating or if they saw something. So my youngest turned 21, and I actually wanted to take my boyfriend to a Christmas party, my family Christmas party. So we just sat our kids down and told them, and nothing phases them. They're hilarious. Like we were so worried that they were going to be upset. We like kind of did this whole thing, and like when we sat them down and we were just like, so this is what we're doing, and they were just like, we thought one of you was dying. Like, we thought you were getting divorced. Like, all the horrible
Well,
things.
that's the thing. I bet you kids, especially kids today, when parents get because more parents are getting
Mhm.
divorced, that breaks them. They
Yeah.
literally are afraid of that. For you to come and tell them the opposite. No, not only are we not getting divorced, we're adding to the marriage.
Yes.
So yeah.
And it's so funny because they were so, my oldest daughter said, "You and dad accept our freaky lifestyles." And I'm like, "You guys have freaky lifestyles, okay?" I mean, they're that's how I raised them. I raised them to be open to everything and to be accepting of everyone. So, of course, I didn't give them enough credit, I guess. But when we did come out and tell them, they were just happy no one was dying. They were happy we were not getting divorced. So, and they're okay with it. They're completely fine with it.
Good. Good for them.
Yeah.
Well, it is a new generation of how old are they now? They must be
So they're
30s.
29,
Yeah.
25, and 24. So
Okay.
they've known for about 3 years.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
It's a whole new world out there today that if you tried this back in 1980, it's like when I was 25, I don't think I could have told either my children, my parents, my neighbors, my anybody. I think they would
Yeah.
have been shunned.
Right. And there are
Misty.
still people who do that. So you have to be
Oh yeah,
careful.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we've come a long way in the
Long way.
sexual revolution.
Yeah.
I'm a product of the '60s only because I was born in '60, but I did not grow up in the Woodstock era, just after that.
Oh. Oh, no.
But Woodstock was the beginning of the sexual revolution where sex was free, free
Right.
sex and everybody blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And and then in the '70s and '80s with the disco years where there was a lot of drugs and sex and gangbangs and I lived all through that stuff.
Wow.
It was a lot of
Lucky.
fun long time ago.
Yeah.
Misty, it has been really interesting and a pleasure to have you on. What an interesting concept and story. Um, Tell us where we could find the book, your website, any social media that you like us to follow.
Sure. So you can go to mistyohara.com. And then I'm also, of course, on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, anywhere you can buy books. If you just Google me, Misty O'Hara, and the 100-Man Plan, you'll see me everywhere.
And Instagram, TikTok, any of those?
Yes, those are well, I'm trying to get on all the other ones. I am on Facebook and Instagram, Misty O'Hara. Instagram, _Misty_O'Hara. I'm getting eventually on the other ones. I feel like I'm a little old for all of those, but I'm gonna have my
Not if
kids
you're
help
selling
me.
a book. No, no, no,
Exactly,
no. If
exactly.
for
Mhm.
a business, yes, you're not the content creator from the 20-year-old busty blonde you talked about, which I find,
Sure.
by the way, I find repulsive. I don't like those.
Right.
But we're content creators, you and I,
Mhm.
and or content. I'm podcasting, and you're an author.
Yes.
You definitely belong on social media. You want to get out there and just say, I'm here, and
Mhm.
you'll find a demographic there. I mean,
Yes.
I don't know what your book sales are, but you might go up 10%. You might go up
I
50%.
think so, and I am working on it. I'm working on that right now. The book did just barely launch in November, so it's still a baby. But
Okay.
I do tell people this book is going to bukkake all over the internet, and it's just well,
I
you're
wonder
not
how
gonna
many
yes,
people know what bukkake means.
they
I
should
do.
you should Google it.
You should Google it. That's
Yeah,
funny.
but that's what I will do to the internet, and this book will go all over. And yeah, whether you like it or not, you're gonna see it everywhere.
It used to be my favorite porn scene was bukkake, and I can't believe I just said that.
I don't think I've ever seen it, but now I might have to go watch.
Oh, really?
I
Okay.
mean, I know what it is, I can imagine it, and, yeah, in my mind, it's way hotter than what it probably
There
is.
was a porn actress, her name was Sandy, and
Okay.
one day I got a hold of a movie of hers called The Best of Sandy, and she must have done a million movies because it was just one scene after another of like
Oh my god.
and guys lining up to do this. So for the audience, if you don't know what it means, go Google it, and we're not going to tell you. We're going to make you do your homework.
Mhm.
But it's a very erotic scene if you're into that kind of stuff, and because it's submissive, very very submissive.
Nice.
So,
It's good.
Misty, thank you. All right, everybody, I want to thank Misty O'Hara. Go check out her book at you can
Miss
buy the book at Amazon
Mhm,
and Barnes and Noble,
mhm.
and go to her website, the
MistyO'Hara.com.
mistyohara.com.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Andrew.